You have exactly 3 seconds. One, two, three. If you haven't managed to hack into the viewer's subconscious in that time, they are gone forever. Welcome to the attention economy, a place where your time is the most valuable currency in the world. Millions of people try to create content every day, screaming into cameras, using flashy explosions, and still getting zero views. But at the same time, there is an elite group of faceless channels that gather millions of views and keep viewers locked in for 20 minutes without any dancing, without shouting, and without even showing their faces. How do they do it? They use a psychological weapon called the hook. Let's look at the channel Better You. Their videos get millions of views in the educational niche. How do they start a video about learning? They don't say, "Hello, today we will talk about memory." That would be a death sentence. Instead, they strike directly at your deepest pain. Their hook sounds like this. You study for 3 hours. Your friend studies for 40 minutes. The next day, he remembers everything, and you remember almost nothing. This isn't a talent gap. It's a technique gap. Do you feel what just happened? In 5 seconds, they identified your problem, made you feel unfairly treated, and promised a quick solution. Dopamine was just released in your brain. You can no longer turn off this video because you absolutely need to know that technique. This is called the pain point hook, but that is just one way to hack your attention. There are much darker methods. If you want to hold a person's attention for 20 minutes in the finance or history niche, facts won't work. Facts are boring. People don't watch videos to learn. They watch videos to experience a story. The creators behind the channel, Economic Historian, are masters of this art. Let's look at their video about wealth collapse. They don't start with inflation charts or boring statistics. They use a scenario hook. The video starts with these words. Imagine it's August 1923. You're Heinrich Miller, a clerk in Berlin. You've done everything right. You saved money in the bank. You had a pension and insurance. But by November, your entire life savings can't even buy a loaf of bread. In 30 seconds, this channel made you a hostage of history. You became Heinrich. But here lies the real secret of retention. The thing that forces you to watch until the very end is called the open loop. Once your attention is hooked, the best creators never give you the answer right away. Economic Historian says, this isn't a story about Germany. It's a story about the structure of a collapse that is currently visible in our own economy. And I am going to show you 12 assets that will soon become worthless. The brain cannot stand unfinished tasks. In psychology, this is known as the Zeigarnik Effect. When a creator opens a loop and promises to reveal 12 secrets, your brain will experience psychological discomfort if it doesn't hear all 12. You are locked in, not because the video is flashing with bright colors, but because your mind demands closure. But what if your goal isn't to educate? What if your goal is the pure, primal stimulation of human instincts? Welcome to the Morbid Curiosity niche. Take the channel, The Painful Explainer. Their videos have titles like The Most Painful Deaths at Disneyland or Every Athlete Who Died in Front of Their Fans. These videos gather millions of views. Why? Are we psychopaths? No, it is evolution. The amygdala in our brains is programmed to look for danger. Tens of thousands of years ago, if a member of your tribe was killed by a predator, it was vital for you to know how and why it happened so you could avoid the same fate. Today, we no longer have saber-toothed tigers, but our brains still desperately crave to observe disasters from a safe distance. When you watch a video about how someone died in an amusement park or while cave diving, your subconscious is actually learning how to survive. The painful explainer doesn't need complex hooks. The title and the topic itself are the most powerful dopamine and adrenaline payload for your nervous system. The exact same rule applies to the survival niche. Channels like Fallout Raccoon use terrifying yet highly realistic titles. The first 5 things they seize in a crisis, or 7 US cities that will become death traps. They create a problem you didn't even know you had and immediately offer an escape plan. Fear is the strongest emotion. If you can terrify the viewer and then hand them a pill of peace, they are your subscriber for life. Another powerful psychological engine used by millionaire channels is breaking the system, or the Rebel Archetype. We humans hate rules, and we idolize those who manage to bend them. Take the channel Loom, with videos like the engineer who legally cheated airlines out of $800,000 using pudding cups, or the hacker who legally cheated every casino, or the channel Break Files, which tells stories about prison escapes, like he escaped a maximum security prison using only a soup bowl. Why can't we take our eyes off these stories? Because we all feel trapped in the system. We pay taxes, work 9 to 5, and follow the rules. When we see a story about a person who found a loophole in the rules of a massive corporation, a casino, or a prison, we experience vicarious catharsis. We root for the thief. We root for the hacker. Successful, faceless channels in this niche never use a self-righteous tone. They do not condemn the criminal. They tell the story as a masterful mind game, allowing the viewer to feel like a genius alongside the main character. We have discussed psychology and topics, but what about the visuals themselves? Do you need Hollywood level 3D animation and software that costs thousands to hold attention? Absolutely not. In fact, too much visual noise often destroys retention because the brain simply gets exhausted. Look at the most innovative and fastest growing educational channels. Primate Economics explains complex terms regarding finance, inflation, and taxes using a drawn monkey and bananas. The channel Crayon Capital uses the slogan, "Big Finance, Drawn Small." Channels like Easy, Actually, or Simplified explain everything through simple stick figures. Why does this work so perfectly? There are 2 reasons. First, cognitive ease. When the topic is incredibly heavy, like the 2008 financial crisis or existential space dread, visual simplicity calms the brain. The viewer doesn't have to waste energy trying to decipher what is happening on screen. So they dedicate all their attention to your voice and your story. Second, the visual anchor. Even though these channels are called faceless, they actually do have a face. The monkey, the stick man, or the guy in the purple hoodie becomes the viewer's friend. You create brand recognition. When a viewer sees the same drawn character in your thumbnail, their brain instinctively says, "I know this format. It is going to be interesting and easy to understand." A successful, faceless channel isn't magic, and it certainly isn't just the result of artificial intelligence tools, despite what internet gurus tell you. The algorithm doesn't have feelings. The algorithm only tracks what people do, and people are looking for 3 things. 1, for someone to hear them and solve their pain. 2, for someone to warn them about impending danger and secrets. 3, for someone to tell them a story whose ending they cannot guess. If your video starts with a clear hook, if you open an information loop and make the viewer wait for the answer, if your visuals are clean and your story touches the deepest human instincts, you won't need to beg people to subscribe. They will be begging you for your next video. Attention is currency, and you just received the blueprints on how to mint it. If you are ready to create a channel that doesn't just exist, but changes the rules of the game, you are exactly where you need to be. Until next time.